1, 2, 3. Financial misconceptions. There are many, and maybe that's the reason why people tend to be broke all the time. Not me though, I'm broke because I'm dumb, just wanted to clarify that. The first misconception is something many people still seem to believe and something that I just thought of as a fact before researching this video. It's that the US can't afford a universal healthcare system. That is kind of a controversial thing, but hey, don't you dare! When I speak to people on the internet, they occasionally assume that I'm from the US, so thank you. But nein, I'm from the good old Germany, and you know what we have in Germany? Universal healthcare, and let me tell you, it's great. You go to the doctor, you swipe your card, and don't have to worry about anything except the moderate monthly health insurance payments, while in the US it's more like, see for yourself. So we checked all your data and it turns out you're perfectly fine. Here's your bill. Oh wow, that is really cheap. Oh, silly you. That's just the cost of printing the bill for the medical expenses. Here you go. But no matter how tragic that is, the US just can't afford a universal healthcare system, right? Wrong. According to the OECD, America spends more on healthcare than any other OECD country, which are these, by the way, and spending on healthcare is expected to continually increase over the following years. But unfortunately, this high level of spending has not transferred to people living longer and healthier lives, because US citizens are worse off on measuring points of health status like life expectancy compared to the OECD average, and there are significant inequalities in access to healthcare services throughout the population. However, a 2020 research article that examined 22 studies on the projected cost impact of a universal healthcare system in the US stated that every study agreed on the fact that America would save a huge load of money by abandoning private insurers and providing everyone in America with high-quality healthcare coverage by introducing a universal healthcare system and thus saving billions on administrative costs and decreasing drug prices. So why doesn't the system change? Well, in the first 6 months of 2021 alone, pharmaceutical companies gave roughly $1.6 million to both parties in the Congress to maintain the status quo. So yeah, good luck with that, America. Myth number 2. The gold standard. There is none, not anymore. The gold standard started when people first had the idea to throw a bunch of gold in highly secured rooms and lock it away. Let me go. Heh. But seriously, the gold standard was a system in which a certain amount of money represented a certain amount of gold that was stashed away somewhere by the government. And that's basically how paper money started. Banks issued notes that you could use to pay for goods and services, but also to exchange the note with gold at any given time. For example, in the year 1900, the value of $1 was fixed at 25.8 grains of 90% pure gold. Ah, silly Americans with their silly units of measurement. Measure this ass. For freedom! What happened to him? What? Oh, it's the rare bullet and brain disease? Yes, I've heard of that. Well, anyway, the gold standard was around until someone noticed that it wasn't really doing the things it was supposed to do. So another system was applied where foreign allies pegged their currencies to the US dollar, which then was pegged to gold. And let's just say the system had a few problems as well, like totally not working out. But aha, fear not, because today's system is flawless and perfect. Fiat currencies, as they are called, are basically the idea that money has value because we all think it has. Nothing can go wrong with that, am I right? What you should take from that is that money is not backed anymore by gold or anything tangible, but by the confidence people have in a certain currency and the government controlling it. And that is why the value of one currency against another fluctuates on a constant basis, as people notice that there is not one single country where politicians don't screw everything over, but then forget about that all over again when a new shift their focus to a place they've never even heard before. Number 3. Something controversial again. Renting is always better than buying and vice versa. This applies to houses, apartments, cars, and other things. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that try to show why one is better than the other, but they often make the mistake of comparing apples to horses. The right answer to this question, Who would afford depends on many factors, including your current and expected situation in the future, the current and expected situation of the market, the exact item you want to buy/rent, how long you want to keep the item, your tax rate, whether you invest or not, how much flexibility you want, and so on and so forth. The reality is that many costs and factors are often forgotten when calculating any of these scenarios, and it is unlikely that there's a video or example out there that completely fits your circumstances. So you can't avoid making your own thoughts and calculations. Just remember that there are good arguments for both sides, and from my own experience I've observed that it often comes down to more of a lifestyle decision than anything else. For example, a friend of mine is really into sports cars, so he decided to rent them for a few months at a time to be able to collect them all. From a financial standpoint, that is totally wrong, but from a lifestyle standpoint, it is kinda understandable. At least if you like cars. I'm more into unicycles, to be honest. My main point here is that there's more than one answer to this question, and you shouldn't just jump on an opinionated opinion train to Opinion Town with a one-way ticket to cling to one of the two ideas for the rest of your lifetime. But as I said, it's controversial, so feel free to bring up this topic during dinner and lean back to enjoy the eternal suffering you've brought upon your family, which of course is the ultimate goal of this video. But speaking of renting versus buying, the next misconception is that owning a big house means someone is rich. Now that is so not true that there even is a word for this. House poor. 2 words? Whatever. Someone is considered house poor when they spend a large portion of their monthly income on home ownership expenses. That can be insurance, maintenance, mortgage payments, and so on. Now a house can be a pretty cool thing if you're into that lifestyle, but there seem to be a lot of unfortunate people that are more or less pressured into home ownership by society, because we're made to believe that a big house not only defines who we are as a person, but also shows how successful we are to the outside world, meaning to people who we may or may not even like. Now, I may be biased right here because I can't even afford a 0.5 bedroom apartment, but the numbers are playing on my team right now. Because, according to this 2022 Consumer Affairs survey, 69% of the just over 1,000 participants see themselves as house poor, and more than 50% stated that their house is their largest financial burden and is generally more expensive than they can comfortably afford. Statistics, baby! But there's an easy fix to that. Just don't buy a house. Or if you do, don't buy more house than you can afford. That's achieved by listing up all your potential post-home buying expenses, including those for the house itself and the things you need and want for living, and then checking whether you can comfortably afford it or not. Next myth, college is the way to a well-paying job. Well, no it isn't. But actually it is. But not really though. Let me explain. Over the past few decades, a standard degree from college or university has evolved from a guarantee for a well-paying job into a guarantee for a minimum wage job at your favorite burger restaurant, because more and more entry-level jobs require a master's degree instead of a bachelor's one on top of the 30 years of work experience at the age of 4. So instead of leaving you with great job perspectives and a promising future, a simple degree will now leave you with basically no advantage at all, and you will likely have to compete with hundreds of other degree holders for such a basic entry-level job. Oh, and if you're from a country where getting a degree means paying a lot for it, you will most likely start your adult life with a lot of accumulated debt. But no, sorry to all of you lovely money-making gurus out there. Not getting a degree is not an option either if you're going after a job that requires one, because working your way up through a company, starting from operating the coffee machine and ending up as CEO just 5 years later, has become kind of a dumb narrative nowadays. So if you want such a job, you will probably have to get a higher degree than you would have needed just a few decades ago. Bonus myth jump scare! You absolutely, positively need your own business. No, that's not true. There's this weird thing going on the internet that pressures people into thinking that they need their own business, as if that's the only viable measure for success. It's not. Working a regular job is completely fine, and both have their pros and cons, but that could be a video on its own. Just think about what you want in your life and then work on that until you get it. And don't let anyone tell you that that's wrong. It's your life after all. Now, around here somewhere, my script really falls apart. So now that we talked so much about misconceptions, you may want to learn about another one people have about diamonds. Course diamonds are stupid. If you want to know why, click over there. Thanks for watching, leave a like if you like, hit that bell or go to hell, and bye!